fantasy football season approaching and drafts approaching this weekend and next, with the season right on the horizon. Is the top 20 quarterbacks I'm ranking going into the year. Number 1, Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills. So Josh Allen, what a season it was once again for him last year. And with his rushing ability, rushing touchdowns, and the cannon arm he has, it just doesn't matter who's that receiver. I know Gabe Davis, Stephon Diggs, they're gone. Gabe Davis signing with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Stephon Diggs traded to the Houston Texans. But like I said, with his rushing ability, his big arm, and big play ability, Josh Allen, even with all that, I still believe he's the number 1 quarterback this year. Number 2, Jalen Hurts of the Philadelphia Eagles. So Jalen Hurts, people thought it was a down year for Hurts. And maybe with interceptions and efficiency it was, but he still had 38 total touchdowns, and that tush-push obviously was a big-time thing for Jalen Hurts last season. And now to add Saquon Barkley to the backfield, already having great receivers in A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, and Dallas Goedert at the tight end position. I think Jalen Hurts is primed for another monster season once again, and I think he goes out there and he has that 35 to 40 touchdown potential. I think numbers will go down a little bit because of the tush push with Jason Kelce retiring, but Jalen Hurts, he's a stud quarterback, and even on a bad year, put up top production. Number 3, Patrick Mahomes of the Kansas City Chiefs. So Patrick Mahomes, he was mediocre in terms of fantasy football numbers last season, but in terms of going all the way and winning another Super Bowl, his 3rd Super Bowl already in his NFL career is Patrick Mahomes. He's going to go out there and do what he does as Patrick Mahomes. And this season, I think he comes back with a monster year. Going into preseason, I had Lamar Jackson ahead of Patrick Mahomes, but I think Patrick Mahomes, after a down year for his standards, only 29 touchdowns, upgraded wide receiving room, and Kelce coming in healthy into the season, where last year he had the knee issue. I think Patrick Mahomes this year goes back to those elite top 2, top 3 numbers. Xavier Worthy, they added. Rashee Rice, he's not getting suspended, it looks like, as of now. Kelce's healthy. Isaiah Pacheco in the backfield. Hollywood Brown, he should be back coming off injury. So with better weapons and Mahomes motivated to get another Super Bowl under his belt, I have him having a bounce-back big year for Lamar Jackson for the Baltimore Ravens. So like I said, it was close between Lamar and Patrick Mahomes, but I went Mahomes at 3 this time. But Lamar, he's going to get the rushing yards. But the only thing is Derrick Henry now is in the backfield, and that might take some rushing touchdowns away from Lamar Jackson. Because, within the 3-yard line, Derrick Henry is automatic punching it into the end zone. But Lamar, we know he's an athletic freak. Nothing like we've seen at the quarterback position, obviously. He's going to get his 600-700 yards rushing on the ground, is Lamar. He's got good weapons. Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews throwing the football too. And this season, any of these quarterbacks, if in that 4th round, I'm taking Allen, Hurts, Mahomes, or Lamar. Those are my 4th round quarterbacks. But quarterback is a deep position where I'm not going to push it and try to take anyone in the 3rd round. Number 5, C.J. Stroud of the Houston Texans. C.J. Stroud last season, what a year was in his rookie year. And now they add Stephon Diggs to this already loaded offense in Joe Mixon, where C.J. Stroud, he could be in the MVP race this year, I believe, and put up numbers. I know the rushing yards aren't going to be there at all for C.J. Stroud, and he might be lower on other websites and other people's draft board. But I think C.J. Stroud is just going to get better, obviously, as the years go on. And like I said, to add Stephon Diggs, a Pro Bowl wide receiver, and to add a Pro Bowl running back like Joe Mixon, who's been great over the last few years, it just sky's the limit for C.J. Stroud. With all those weapons, he's just going to find his way into some monster ball games. And C.J. Stroud, like last year, we saw he scored over 50 points in one of those games. Number 6, Kyler Murray of the Arizona Cardinals. I've been really moving Murray up over the last few weeks as well in my rankings. Coming in, he was like 8 or 9, but now with Marvin Harrison there, Trey McBride, James Conner, and Murray coming off the ACL, another year off the surgery, I think it sky's the limit for Kyler Murray, because we've seen him have big seasons already in his career with less in the offense. So Kyler Murray, we know, is going to run the football. He's going to get 500-600 yards most likely on the ground. You got a stud number 1 wide receiver in Marvin Harrison. You got Trey McBride, who's already one of the top tight ends in all pro football. And I think Kyler Murray and this team, they're motivated and ready to go. And I believe he has a big season. Number 7, Anthony Richardson of the Indianapolis Colts. I know Anthony Richardson, he's in the top 5 for most people going into the year. But this year I got him in number 7 is Richardson. So last season he showed some good flashes in the few games he played. Then he went out for the year with injuries, concussion he had in one game. Then his shoulder is Anthony Richardson. But this kid's got a cannon arm. He's got an IQ for the game. Got good weapons over there. Is this Indianapolis Colt team? But the reason, obviously, he was number 5 on most people's boards is with his running ability, where they think he could rush in that Lamar range, in that 600-700 yards, 8-9 touchdown range is Richardson. But I got to take a wait-and-see approach before I go out there and put Richardson in the top 5. Like I said, we saw good flashes from him. But to get hurt in his rookie year wasn't a great sign. Number 8, Joe Burrow of the Cincinnati Bengals. So Joe Burrow, I think he's underrated a little bit coming into the year. But like I said, he's a quarterback that's not going to run the football a whole lot. His ceiling isn't as high as some of these quarterbacks I mentioned is Joe Burrow. But he still has his great weapons. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. I know Joe Mixon's gone. They traded him to the Houston Texans. But I still believe Joe Burrow is a solid quarterback. And if you could scoop him up in that 6th, 7th round with all the weapons he has, he's going to be a great pick. Just health has been a concern with Joe Burrow, where last season, coming into the year, was the calf injury that held him back. And then once he got healthy, then it was the wrist, and that was it for Burrow. So this year, we'll see if he stays healthy. And if he does, he'll put up big numbers. Number 9, Jordan Love of the Green Bay Packers. So Jordan Love last season took the league by storm. He got off to a slow start the first month of the year. Found his footing, spreading the football out, showing that winning mentality is Jordan Love. A few come from behind victories. And they got a nice young receiving core as well over there. Christian Watson, if he could stay healthy. Jaden Reed, who broke out, had 10 touchdowns last season. Got that Tavian Wicks. Got Romeo Doubs. You got Luke Musgrave, Tucker Kraft, tight end position. You got Josh Jacobs in the backfield. So this is going to be a nice offense for this Green Bay Packer team. And like I said, Jordan Love had a monster year, getting a monster contract now, finishing in the top 5 in points per game at the quarterback position last season. And if you could nab Love in the 7th, 8th round, I think that's a steal. Number 10, Dak Prescott of the Dallas Cowboys. So Dak Prescott, what a year was last year. 36 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and he led the league in passing yards, over 4,500 pass yards. But I believe Dak Prescott isn't going to put those numbers up once again. We saw Dak in the playoffs. He was a horror show, throwing interceptions. The Cowboys got blown out in that one. But Dak Prescott, I still think someone in that 8th, 9th round range could be solid for fantasy owners, but the running game took a step back. Tony Pollard leaving in free agency. Wide receiver, they didn't add anyone. Pretty much this offense is CeeDee Lamb, who's been holding out and might get off to a slow start, and Jake Ferguson, who had a breakout season at the tight end position. But I still believe that he'll get things going. He'll make some plays, and this Cowboy team should be one of the high-scoring teams in the league. 11, Jaden Daniels of the Washington Commanders. So Jaden Daniels, we know he's going to run the football a lot this season. He's already named the starter easily going into week 1 over Marcus Mariota is Jaden Daniels. And he's got that upside to rush for 500 to 700 yard range, is the Heisman Trophy winner. He's got decent weapons. Terry McLaurin, Brian Robinson Jr., Austin Eckler out of the backfield, Ben Stinnett, Zach Ertz at the tight end position, Jahan Dotson if he could get anything going. But like I said, it's all about the legs for Jaden Daniels, where he's going to get rushing yards and he's going to make things happen. It doesn't look like there's a play there. So Jaden Daniels, if you want potential upside and to wait to that 8th, 9th round range, I think Daniels in that range is a good pick. Number 12, Brock Purdy of the San Francisco 49ers. Great weapons on the offense, obviously. Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, which if I would guess, is coming back to this 49er team. Then you got Christian McCaffrey, obviously the best back in the league, coming out of the backfield as well. So this team's loaded once again. Brock Purdy had a monster season, but there was also games where he flopped a little bit early in the season. I mean, the number 12 quarterback is Brock Purdy, and someone with the great weapons. He's just going to find his way into number 1 quarterback potential in that top 12 is Purdy. He'll have some bad games here and there, or it'll be a Christian McCaffrey type of day. But I still believe with all those weapons and the accuracy and the way he plays in the Shanahan system, he's good once again. 13 Tua of the Miami Dolphins. Other websites, they're down on Tua more, with Caleb Williams over him in the rankings. I've even seen Trevor Lawrence over him in the ranking websites and stuff. But Tua's got weapons, obviously. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Devon Achane, Raheem Mostert out of the backfield, Odell Beckham. They added him free agency. We'll see if he brings anything to the team. But Tua last season, 29 touchdowns. I know the interceptions were up. Passing yards were up there. And I believe, once again, with this high-powered offense, and he got a big contract in the offseason, Tua's going to put up numbers. And he's a quarterback you could wait to that 10th round about and get him on your fantasy team. And that's a great price. Number 14, Caleb Williams of the Chicago Bears. So Caleb Williams, one of the more hyped quarterback rookies coming into the league. in a very long time, the number one pick. And he's coming into one of the best situations you'll ever see as a rookie. DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, Cole Kmet, DeAndre Swift are the main parts on this offense for Chicago. So Caleb Williams, number one pick overall. He had a great college career, even though he did lose some big ball games in his last season in college was Caleb Williams. But like I said, with all those weapons on his team, and he'll give you about 350 rushing on the ground, this Caleb Williams as well. I think Caleb Williams will have a good season for the Chicago Bear team, and he's a back-end number one quarterback this year for fantasy owners. 15, Matthew Stafford of the Los Angeles Rams. So Matthew Stafford, you want to talk about weapons. You got Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, Kyren Williams, Tyler Higbee, Tutu Atwell in this offense. So a lot of speed on this offense, a lot of great route runners on this offense. And then Stafford, we know he still has the cannon arm. And last year, he really came on in the second half of the season where the Rams went on a run to make the playoffs, but lost in the first round to the Detroit Lions. So Matthew Stafford has all his weapons. I know he's in his late 30s now with Stafford, and he's banged up a little bit with the hamstring in training camp. But Stafford's always banged up. It's always been like that throughout his career. Going back to the Lion days with Calvin Johnson, he's a gunslinger, Stafford. He's got the weapons. He's got the system with Sean McVay. And to get Matthew Stafford in the 11th, 12th round is great value if you want to punt quarterback and wait. Number 16, Jared Goff, who was traded for Matthew Stafford many seasons ago with the Detroit Lions. So Jared Goff, you want to talk about weapons on an offense as well. He's got a lot of great ones. Jahmyr Gibbs, Dave Montgomery in the backfield. Sam Laporta, who came out of nowhere with the monster rookie season at tight end. And also, obviously, Amon-Ra St. Brown and a prospect in Jameson Williams, who they're hoping in year 3 breaks out, where he's healthy and not suspended coming into the year. So Jared Goff, last season, he wasn't turning the football over. He was making all the right plays, making all the right reads. And I know on the road home splits, it was a little off for Jared Goff. But if you go into the year and you want to punt the position, like I said, there's a lot of talent in the back end of these rankings here. I think Jared Goff can help fantasy owners. And with weapons like that, he's going to have some 25, 30-point games during the season. Number 17, Trevor Lawrence of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So Trevor Lawrence, a lot of hype for him last season after he came off a big second year in the NFL was Trevor Lawrence. So another quarterback who got paid this offseason was Trevor Lawrence. They revamped the wide receiver position. They signed Gabe Davis, big threat down the field, big target from the Buffalo Bills. Drafted Brian Thomas Jr., who could run the route tree, make the big plays as well. Still got Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley, Zay Jones left in free agency. And Trevor Lawrence, he could run the football as well for 350 yards. But like I said, quarterback's a deep position this season. And Trevor Lawrence, after last year, a lot of hype coming in, and he didn't live up to it in terms of fantasy football circles. He's a quarterback I'm a little down on going into the year. But like I said, if you punt the position and go with Trevor Lawrence in 12-team leagues, I still believe you'll be fine at the quarterback position. But like I said, I don't think Lawrence's ceiling is that high. Number 18, Justin Herbert of the Los Angeles Chargers. Justin Herbert, I still feel, is a top 10 talent in this league, but all his weapons are gone. Keenan Allen gone, traded to the Bears. Mike Williams gone, signed on with the New York Jets. Austin Eckler gone, signed with the Washington Commanders. And pretty much a bunch of young wide receivers for Justin Herbert. Ladd McConkey, Quentin Johnson, who they drafted in the first round last year, showed nothing. Joshua Palmer, Gerald Everett even left in free agency as well. So it's going to be a tough season for Justin Herbert, I believe. But on raw arm talent and IQ, he'll have some games as Justin Herbert. But like I said, with no weapons really, and it's going to be tough with a young group of wide receivers and not really a true number one. He's down there in my rankings this year. Number 19, Aaron Rodgers of the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers last season, 4 plays in, torn Achilles, season done immediately for him in the New York Jets. And now this season he's going in healthy, playing it safe with him, and rightfully so, is this New York Jet team. But Rodgers at 40 years old, we'll see if he's got anything left in the tank, coming off a major injury. Jets have good weapons. Breece Hall in the backfield, one of the better backs. Garrett Wilson, up-and-coming wide receiver over the last couple of seasons. Mike Williams, we'll see if he's healthy. Tyler Conklin, a decent tight end, in my opinion. So Aaron Rodgers, he's going at the back end of fantasy drafts, so you could get him in that 12th, 13th round range. And he did a few years ago where he did win the MVP for the Packers that year. I'm not saying he's winning an MVP or anything like that is Aaron Rodgers, but I still believe he's got something left in the tank and he can contribute to fantasy owners in 2 quarterback leagues or 16-team leagues or deeper as a starter. And the 20th and final quarterback I'm ranking is Kirk Cousins of the Atlanta Falcons. So Kirk Cousins, he was on a tear last season before he went out for the season with the torn Achilles as a Cousins. And now going from Minnesota Vikings to the Atlanta Falcons with a young up-and-coming team with weapons like Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier in the backfield, Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Kyle Pitts. This is a good offense, no doubt about it. Fast carpet indoors. And Kirk Cousins, we know he's going to put up yards. We know he's a gunslinger. And we know he's got a good IQ as Kirk Cousins and respected a lot around the league. But the only thing, this quarterback position is deep. And we'll see how these young players play with a Kirk Cousins. He's not playing with a Justin Jefferson. Obviously, I know Drake London's a good receiver, but he's not in the same league as a Justin Jefferson. Jordan Addison, he was solid last year as well. I don't know if Mooney is really a Jordan Addison type, the wide receiver position. Kyle Pitts, though, he's a solid tight end, but not a TJ Hawkinson. So good weapons, a lot of upside, no doubt about it over there in Atlanta. But like I said, quarterback is deep this season, and Cousins rounds out the list. One quarterback I want to mention that's not on the list is Justin Fields of the Pittsburgh Steelers. If Justin Fields is named the starter, he's got top 10 potential, obviously, is Fields with his running ability. But right now, no starter named at time of recording this video, but definitely someone to keep in mind is Justin Fields. If he wins that starting quarterback job, we know he could run for 600-700 yards in a season, and he has a big arm, even though there's limited weapons in that offense. So that's the top 20 quarterbacks I'm ranking entering the 2024 season.